Welcome to Bonnie's Eye and Friends. I'm Bonnie DeShong, and it is time for Bonnie's Eye on Film with my good friend Reggie, the Real Critic Ponder. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Bonnie. Doing good. You know, we in that rush for watching all these movies before it's awards time. I am up to my neck in films.
Me too. As a matter of fact, the other day I was in the movie theater. I saw three films in one day,
Whoa.
and then the Black Harvest Film Festival is starting. Um, and then it's just like movies, 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 and then trying to find time to write about them and talk about them.
Yeah. So if I could throw in a plug for the Black Harvest Film Festival, I won't be here this year to really see all that they have to offer because I'm going out of the country for the first time. So don't even say anything because you've been to Africa like 15 times. This will be my first.
Yeah.
This will be my first time setting foot on the motherland. But back to the Black Harvest Film Festival is that there are so many movies that you probably aren't going to see um, even in streaming because a lot of these films don't have a streaming contract.
Right.
And if you like film and you like films about the total black diaspora, it just makes so much sense for your audience to seek it out, to go check it out. And I particularly like the shorts. The shorts, I just had to say this. I know this is not what we're supposed to be talking about today, but I just have to say the shorts always astound me. I mean, they just get me so riled up. They just do a great job this year, and I'm sorry I'm going to miss the festival, but I think it runs through it runs for a while, so hopefully people
Yeah,
will be able to check it out.
I hope so. I hope so. Sergio Mims did a great job in creating and getting it together, and so I'm ready. I am just so ready. And I agree with you with the shorts because that's where a lot of the creative young directors are coming in or new directors are coming in. So, yeah, that's good. But today we're going to talk about the piano lesson, the movie, the film. That is, it was directed by Malcolm Washington, Denzel Washington's son, and it stars John David Washington. And it's August Wilson play put to film. So go for it, Reggie. You know, I always like to let you start.
All right. Well, I will tell you is that I got to check this out on Broadway,
Mm-hmm.
and John David, Samuel L. Jackson. So I've seen the work. Um, I I believe before we even get into the particular work is that August Wilson really is a an American treasure, an absolute American treasure. So for people who haven't seen him and seen his work, um, this is a great opportunity to go do that. So I always talk about all the things that I like first, and I just I like this piece of work first. So
Yeah.
I'm already going in with a predisposition about, oh, it's the piano lesson. Let me see how they're going to spin it. What I will say this, Bonnie, for me, I get a little bit annoyed with folks who say, well, uh, why would you remake the piano lesson? Why would you? Is that if you August Wilson is akin to Shakespeare. He is at that level. And so there are so many variations and versions of every Shakespeare play. And around the world, you can probably see Shakespeare every day somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that that's August Wilson. You should be able to see August Wilson around the world, everywhere. And I am really happy that they brought this to the screen. Now, this is co-written by Virgil Williams, um, with 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 uh, Malcolm, and I was really interested in how are they going to bring basically this one room play to life on film, and they do some interesting things because they do get outside of that room, and that's one of the things that I do like about it is they get outside of that room a little bit. There's this big thing that they're when they're coming to town, they're coming to sell these watermelons,
Yeah.
and at least you see them outside of of the room. But the biggest thing here for me is that the heavyweights and the way in which they have these this discussion about this family heirloom, the piano, I can see both sides of it. I can see where the son, played by John David Washington, is saying, my family left this to me for generational wealth. We need to sell this so we can build generational wealth. But I can see the daughter, played by Danielle Deadwyler, saying, hold on now, our family history, our family legacy is embedded in this. And I their back and forth, oh my goodness, it's powerful. It's absolutely powerful. I'm going to stop there because there's so many other powerful moments with the total ensemble. But I'll stop there because I love to hear what you have to say.
Well, I met August Wilson, and
Oh
I've
my
seen
goodness.
every one of his plays. I've had a chance to sit down and talk with him. Very, very, very cool, down to earth dude. Then he, yeah, I said dude about August Wilson. Um, Seeing the piano lesson on Broadway, but seeing it with the original cast, seeing it here at the Goodman Theater in Chicago, seeing it, on film before. You it's his work usually always takes place in Pittsburgh, but his work is one that really touches the soul of the family and friendships and history, and it just, when you're sitting in one of August Wilson's productions, it's like you're home. You feel like you belong there. And the reason why I'm glad that they did this rendition is because it does introduce another group of people to August Wilson who may not have seen his stuff on stage or the first film, but to actually bring them to who August Wilson is. And so I thought that Malcolm Washington did a great job. He and Virgil Williams in writing it. I thought the entire cast was very good in it. And one of the things, Reggie, that I liked that some people may not get is that the same cadence of the play in dialogue is used in the film. And there's a different cadence when you're seeing something on stage. There's a way that the language goes. There's a way that the dialogue flows. And then when you see it in film, it's a little more laxed or whatever, but this still had the cadence of the play for me.
It's really interesting, Bonnie, because did you bring up that point about theater and seeing it on film? Is in the theater, it's interesting for like August Wilson play. You can actually have do the laughing and the oohing and awing, not necessarily talking back to the actors, but in some plays sometimes the people are so pristine and you just kind of sitting there and just waiting. So when can I clap or whatever? But there's so many so I could see that there were times in the movie that I would have been like, "Oh no," at the theater or laughing or whatever. I, I, their their approach, the actors' approach to this is just powerful all throughout. And one of the things that really got me was that when you look at Ray Fisher
Mm-hmm.
and Corey Hawkins and Michael Potts,
Mm.
what those three guys bring to this film. They're not add-ons. They're not like, oh, okay, let's just throw some people. They are it's six of them really who are um so critical to this discussion and play. Samuel L. Jackson's character is so interesting. Like, look, I'm Switzerland. I
Right.
I I I, 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 I leave the girl alone. She
Right.
she ain't gonna sell you that piano. Uh, it is so good. I think you said that they do a good job. I think from an acting perspective, they do a great job.
Yeah.
And Ray Fisher, I'm saying Ray Fisher, but Ray kills it in his thing. Corey Hawkins, I mean, the way he's going back and forth with John David Washington, I mean, it's like a slugfest. And for people who don't really know, maybe we're jumping into it, but for people who don't really know this story, it
Sure.
really is about a piano that belonged to the family, and it kind of escaped the South with the daughter. She had,
Well, well,
yeah,
let's back up a little bit,
right.
Reggie. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah,
The,
no, absolutely.
okay, the piano belonged to this white family, and uh, Boy Willie, I always want to call him Bo Willie. Boy Willie, father, was it his father or grandfather? His grandfather. No, his father carved the white guy, the white owner asked that Boy Willie's father carve something into the piano to make the owner's wife happy. Okay. So what he did was he carved in his mother's face, hit not the white guy's face, but Boy Willie's dad's mother's face, his father's face, their marriage, all of their family history was carved into this piano. Okay. So
Absolutely.
almost like the ancestors and the history of that family was carved into this piano. So they decide that it don't belong to them white folks no more. We gonna take this piano, we gonna get it out, and then Bernice gets it. Okay.
And we fast forward years later,
Mhm.
and the Bernice daughter has this piano, and she is holding on to it because of family and because of legacy. It
Mhm.
tell and history. It tells that whole history of their family. But Boy Willie's like, look, I hear you, but this thing is valuable. We could sell this thing, and I could go buy me some land. I
Back
could,
down south. Now you got to get. Now they up
right.
north, but he want to go back down south.
I'm gonna
If
go
not,
back down south, buy me some land, plow that land, get me some workers, and then I can make a better life for all of us because I'll be down there doing what I know how to do. Just give me this opportunity to do that. And the whole thing is really about what's going to happen to this piano, but it allows us to get into what's going to happen to this family.
exactly,
It
exactly.
allows us to get into their dreams, their aspirations, their hopes. It's just so very well written, which is, August Wilson. And I think Virgil Williams and Malcolm did a great job with that, with the adaptation. But it's also just so very well acted in this.
And see, and I would be with Bernice because family history means a lot. And the thing is that okay, yeah, you would have the land down south, but passing this one piece of your history down through the ages so that you can tell the story, or that's why people doing ancestry.com now, because they're trying to find that connection with their ancestors. But Reggie, you know what one of my favorite parts of this film is when those men are around that table and they start slapping that table and patting their feet and singing this chant. And I mean, I got chills, chills. Do you hear me? I love that part to the part of almost tears. It was, it just reminded me of family and history because all in that chant, they were letting you know something. That's what I love about August Wilson.
And yeah, I guess the other thing now and is that they use the one room very very well,
Mhm.
just very well. Um, there's so many elements in here about the spirits and some other things happening in terms of people uh, dying and how did they die and
Yeah.
all of that. So I mean, I just think it's very well woven, and I think they do a good job. My This is not a criticism for me. It's more of a disappointment. Is that will people go to the theater to see a film like this? Because this is not a fast-paced film, um, and yeah, it's not a fast-paced film. Whenever I watch these films, I always watch and say, will audiences come out to support a film like this? They might. It's going to be. It's in theaters, but I mean, it's going to be in theaters, but it also will be on Netflix. I'm positive that they'll watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, they
Uh,
will. They'll
my
watch it on Netflix.
positive that that'll happen. But one of the real measures of success is the ability for these types of films to do well at the box office. And I don't know if that one room, in a way, for some people might be too confining. I think the subject, the the everything that they talk about is still relevant today. But
Okay.
I'm curious as to how audiences of all ages will receive a film like this. I
Well,
think it's one to check out, but I'm really curious in that way.
yeah, I think too. It reminds me of before Netflix and streaming when people would buy the bootlegs, and for me, I think that we always tell them go the first weekend, help them with the dollars, help them get it out there. Spend the money, everybody, to go and see these type of films, even if you just go and buy a ticket and don't go see it and wait for Netflix. But support it in the theater, because seeing it on a big screen, and with any film, it helps you get into the spirit of the film. And this one is one that you really should. Sororities, fraternities, if you know how y'all used to buy up tickets and take people, seniors, take the kids from youth groups. You guys need to buy up this film, The Piano Lesson, and take groups to see it. Now, Reggie, the one thing I didn't like,
Oh,
um, and this is very minor, I didn't like the juke joint scene.
oh, okay.
And I didn't like it because it was too choreographed. The dancing was too choreographed. It stepped out of the real feeling of what the juke joint would have been like. It's almost like, okay, now we have to do a production. So that was the
Okay.
only thing I didn't like. I didn't realize Erica Badu was in it.
Uh, yeah, yeah. It's so funny is that I'm so jealous of you having met August Wilson. I have to just talk to the actors. So I did get a chance to speak with Dave, John David, and Virgil, and I think it was Virgil who talked about who couldn't help but love listening to Erica Badu, so that they had her in the film, because I didn't know she was in the film because she's not billed. There's no, she's on the credits, but it's
Mhm.
not like she's one of the headliners that they have there. So it was great to see her and their use of Erica as well. So okay, I, I could see
Yeah,
what you're saying there. I liked it because I thought it helps kind of set the mood. One of the things that the August Wilson, and you talked about this a little bit, is this whole Pittsburgh, yeah, thing, and it helped us get a flavor of Pittsburgh. I've never been to Pittsburgh, so I'm always thinking, man, I guess I'm gonna have to visit Pittsburgh, because every time we see one of these August Wilson plays, it makes you interested in the city.
yeah, and that's true. The scene itself was fine. It was great because it kind of gave you a feeling of, who Boy Willie is from the front, but it gave you also a feeling of Lyman and how, he related to the whole scene and his insecurities and whatever. But it was just the choreographed dancing that threw me off. The
I
rest
don't want.
it
I
was
got one other thing I want to say. I don't want to give away, the whole thing, but Lyman and his his interaction in terms of getting the suit is
yeah,
absolutely
hilarious.
it's absolutely hilarious how he ends up getting this suit. and
And them shoes.
and then get some shoes with it as well. Well, Bonnie, I'm giving on my scale of 4 reels. I'm giving this 4 reels. It's a must see for me. I think anything this August Wilson is a you should see, but then when you throw on the acting and the way in which this was constructed, I think it makes it a must see. So I'm giving this one 4 out of 4.
Well, I'm going to agree with you 100%. Out of my scale of 5 winks of the eye, it gets 5 winks of the eye. Anything with August Wilson's in it, but also with the talent of Malcolm Washington and Virgil Williams and John David Washington and Samuel Jackson and the whole entire cast. It is worth going. If you are a theater or acting student, film student, you need to see it because this is a class in acting and filmmaking. So it gets 5 winks of the eye from me. Well, Reggie, before we go, we're going to let everybody know that next week we're going to be talking about Gladiator 2 and talk about the Washington family. Whew, Lord have mercy. So until next time, everybody, this is Bonnie's Eye on Film on Jam 98, music for your soul.